The part of your service business you're most excited to automate is probably the part that you should never touch. Most operators get this exactly backwards, and it's quiet enough that you won't actually notice it until a client just stops renewing. Hey, what's up? My name is Justin, and I want to talk about where AI actually fits into a service business, because I think most of the conversation around this is pointed in the wrong direction. Here's what I keep seeing. Somebody who already has clients, they already have revenue, they already have a real business, they get excited about AI. And the first thing they reach for is automating the client experience. The check-ins, the follow-ups, the little personal touches, the stuff that feels like a chore. And on the surface, that does make sense because that stuff takes time. And time is the thing that they're short on. But here's the problem. The parts that feel like a chore are very often the exact parts that your clients are actually paying the premium for. And when you automate those secretly without them knowing, nothing breaks right away. The work still actually goes out. The deliverables still ship. Everything kind of looks fine. And then 6 months later, somebody doesn't renew and they can't quite tell you why, and you can't quite tell either. Because the things that you actually removed wasn't on any invoice. It was the feeling that a real person was paying attention to them. So what I want to do today is give you a way to think about this that is clearer than what tools should I add. Because if you walk away with one thing, I want it to be this. AI doesn't scale a service business. Clarity about what your clients actually pay for, that's what scales a service business. AI just amplifies whatever clarity or confusion that you already have. Now let me back up for a second because I've been doing this for a very long time. I've been in direct response marketing for about 17 years now. And back when I started, the word leverage actually meant something pretty specific. It meant that you either hired people or you bought media. That was it. If you wanted to do more than your own two hands could actually do, then you either paid humans to do it or you just paid to get your message in front of more eyeballs. There was no third option. And the whole game back then was figuring out what was repeatable, because you couldn't hand a person a task that changed every single time. You had to find the part of the work that was the same on every job, written down, and hand that part specifically off to the human. The repeatable part got delegated, and that was leverage. Now what's funny is AI changed the math on all of this completely, but it did not change the actual principle that I just described, not even a little bit. The principle is still figure out what's repeatable and then leverage it. AI just made the repeatable part nearly free and nearly instant. And that's the whole shift. It's enormous. And it's also exactly the same thing that I learned 17 years ago. The people who win with AI right now are the same people who already understand leverage. The tool itself didn't teach them anything new. All it did was remove the cost of doing the thing that they already knew that they need to do. So let me give you the actual frame here. A service business is made up of 3 layers. There's the offer, which is what they buy. There's the delivery, which is how you fulfill it. And there's the relationship, which is why they trust you in the first place. 3 layers: offer, delivery, relationship. And the mistake almost everyone makes is they treat AI like it belongs everywhere equally. But it doesn't. It belongs in some of those layers, and it's poison in others. And knowing the difference, well, that's most of the game. So let's talk about where it fits, because this part is real and it's very powerful when you understand it. AI belongs in the repeatable middle of your delivery. Research and prep work, the first drafts that you're going to edit anyway, your SOPs, your system documentation, the internal stuff that nobody outside your business ever even sees. I had a conversation a while ago with somebody who was custom building every single client deliverable from scratch. And she was burning out, no surprise. Genuinely exhausted, working nights, the whole thing. And when I suggested that she templatize some of it, she pushed back pretty hard. She was like, Justin, I don't think you understand. Every single client is different. I can't templatize this. If I did, they would just feel like a number. And I get why she believed that. But we actually walked through one of her deliverables together, line by line, and here's what we found. About 80% of the work was identical from client to client, but the structure was the same. The framework was the same. That core teaching, it was all the same. What changed was the part that genuinely required her brain. That was maybe 20% of it. The specific diagnosis, judgment about what this particular client needed, really just the personal note. She'd been treating the whole thing like it was custom because the 20% was custom. And the 20% was the part that mattered. But she was also spending hours building each one because she was rebuilding the 80% part also every single time. So AI took the 80% of that. The templated structure went from a 4-hour build to a 40-minute build. And the part that she didn't even expect is that her clients actually felt more cared for, not less. Because now she had the energy and the time to actually pour herself into the 20%, and they could feel that. The custom part got better because the repeatable stuff stopped eating her alive. And that's where leverage actually lives. That's where it thrives, not in automating the relationship, in automating the repeatable internal work so that you have more of yourself left for the part that can't be automated. Now let me tell you where it doesn't fit, because I learned some of this stuff the hard way. There was a stretch where I tried to systemize something that should have stayed personal. I'm not going to get into the details, but it was a piece of communication that used to come from me directly. And I built a system to produce it faster. And you know what? It worked. The output came out faster. It looked basically the same on paper, but it felt hollow. I could feel it, and looking back, I think the people on the other end of it, I think they could feel it too. It was technically correct, but it was emotionally just empty. And so I had to walk it back. I had to rethink it. I had to undo the thing that I had built because speed had really become my goal, and speed was never the goal when I started out. The right thing done well, that was the goal. So speed only matters when it's serving that goal. So here's where AI does not belong. It doesn't belong in diagnosis, knowing what your client actually needs as opposed to what they asked for. That's the heart, and that's for you to do. A client comes to you and says, I need one thing, and your whole value is knowing that what they actually need isn't that thing that they asked for, it's something completely different. So AI can help you think, but it cannot make the call for you. And the moment that you let it, you've handed away the exact thing that makes you worth paying for. It doesn't belong in the relationship. That hard conversation where you've got to tell them something that they don't want to hear, if you automate that part of the business even just a little bit, you become forgettable. Pleasant, maybe. Efficient, sure, but forgettable. And it also doesn't belong in the hard human calls. Any kind of judgment call that's got some weight to it, all right? The decision where being right matters more than being fast. That stuff has to stay with you. There's a lot of fear content out there right now. AI is going to replace coaches. AI is going to replace agencies. AI is coming for your business in 2026. And here's what I actually see when I look at who's getting commoditized. It's not the businesses that are selling transformation. It's the businesses that are selling deliverables. So if your entire value was that you produce a thing and now a machine can produce a similar thing, then yeah, you got a real problem. And you had that problem even before AI showed up. You may not have been aware of it, but you did. AI just made it visible. But that relationship layer and the judgment layer, those two things were never at risk anyway. They're not the kind of thing that gets commoditized because they're not a deliverable. They're a human being who understands you and tells you the truth. And that's never been more valuable. Which brings me to the last test that I want to give you. And this is the part that I really want to land for you. Because AI only amplifies what you already understand. And that's the whole thing. If your offer is sharp and your delivery is super dialed in, then AI just makes it dramatically faster and more leveraged. But if your offer is vague and your delivery is improvised, off the cuff, then AI just helps you produce confusion a lot faster. It doesn't fix a fuzzy offer, all right? It will scale that confusion. It will scale the chaos. It amplifies it. So you bolt AI onto a mediocre process, and what you get is mediocre at scale. So the real work here, it's not adopting a tool. It's getting clear enough about your own value that you know exactly what to automate and what to never touch. So the clarity comes first. The tool is second. And if you do it in the other order, then you're just moving faster in a direction that you haven't figured out yet. So here's the practical reframe that I want you to leave with. Stop asking, how do I add AI to my business? That's the wrong question, and it'll send you shopping for tools that you don't need. Instead, what you want to ask is, where am I doing repeatable work that doesn't require my judgment? Sit down and actually make that list. The prep, the first drafts, the documentation, the structure that you rebuild every time. That list, the work that doesn't need your judgment, well, that list, that's your AI roadmap. And everything that didn't make that list, the diagnosis stuff, the trust, the hard calls, that's the part that you guard with your life. You don't automate that stuff. I think about this in small ways too. There's a difference between a task a machine can do and a moment that only matters because the human did it. A task is just a task, but the moment that my daughter wants me to actually look at something that she made, well, the whole point is I'm the one looking, right? You couldn't automate that without destroying the only thing that made it matter in the first place. And your clients have moments like that with you as well. So the trick is knowing which is which. So here's the bigger shift. And this is the one insight that I want you to walk away with. The operators who win in this next stretch of technology, they're not going to be the ones with the most tools. They're going to be the ones that are clear enough about their own value to know what to keep human. Everybody's going to have the tools. What's rare and what's going to stay rare is the person that knows exactly what they're worth and protects it. You don't need more AI. You need to know what your clients actually pay for. Get that right, and where the tools go, that part becomes obvious. So if this was useful, subscribe, because this is the kind of thing that I'm going to work through here every week. And the one thing that I would actually do this week is make that list that I mentioned. 2 columns. What doesn't need my judgment and what does. That simple exercise will tell you more about your business than any tool will. I'll see you in the next video.